You're lying in bed. It's late. You open your phone, no real reason, just habit. And the first thing you see is a LinkedIn notification. Someone you went to school with just got promoted, senior something. You don't fully understand what it means, but it sounds important. 312 people liked it. You don't press like, you just keep scrolling. Instagram next. A girl from your old group just got engaged. The ring is enormous. The caption says something about forever. You double tap out of reflex and immediately regret it because now she knows you were looking. Back to LinkedIn, which, and this is important, you opened again even though nothing good has ever come from opening LinkedIn at 11 p.m. Someone else from your year just launched a startup. There's a long post about it. It uses the words hard work, passion, and discipline. But you read the whole thing anyway. Someone called them visionary. You look at their profile photo. They look incredibly confident. You remember them from school. They were fine, normal, not obviously visionary. You put your phone on your chest and stare at the ceiling. And there it is, that feeling, the one that's hard to describe but impossible to miss. It's not quite jealousy, it's not quite sadness, it's something more specific than either of those things. It's the feeling of doing mental arithmetic at 11 p.m., going through names, tallying up what everyone else seems to have, and then quietly comparing it to whatever it is you currently have, which tonight feels like not very much. Let's go back, because to understand why your 20s feel so disorienting, you have to understand what came before them. For most of us, the first 18 or so years of life are remarkably structured, and I mean remarkably. You go to school, you move through years in order. Year 1, year 2, year 3. Everyone around you is exactly the same age. You study roughly the same things. You hit the same milestones at the same time. First day of high school, first exams, graduation, it's all on a conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt moves at the same speed for everyone. And there's something genuinely comforting about that. Even if school was stressful, and for most people it absolutely was, there was a kind of predictability to it. You always knew what the next step looked like. You could look at the year above you and see your own future in pretty clear detail. The structure was the whole thing. And here's what that structure quietly does to your brain over 18 years. It teaches you that life moves in stages, that everyone around you is at roughly the same point, that there's a path and the path is shared, and if you stay on it, everything will unfold in roughly the order it's supposed to, which works brilliantly, right up until the moment it doesn't. Graduation is one of the strangest events in a person's life. One day you're all together, same uniform, same building, same vague sense of dread about the future. There is a real collective feeling that something significant is closing, and then everyone just scatters. In the space of about 6 months, people you've known for years fan out in about 40 different directions simultaneously. Some go to university, some go straight into work, some travel, some move cities, some start relationships that completely redirect their lives, some start businesses, some spend a year being genuinely, productively lost. For a while, you keep up. You text people. You hear what everyone's doing. It feels strange but manageable, different, but okay. But somewhere between month 6 and month 18, something changes. The divergence stops feeling like just different paths. It starts feeling like a race. And you start noticing who appears to be winning it. Here's the thing about comparison that nobody really explains. It's not a choice. You don't decide to compare yourself to other people. It just happens, automatically, constantly, without permission. And there's a reason for that. Your brain has been running a social ranking program for your entire life. Humans evolved in small groups where knowing your position relative to others wasn't a vanity project. It was survival information. High status meant access to resources, low status meant vulnerability. So your brain got very good, very fast at tracking where you stand. It became a background process, always running, always taking stock. The problem is that this program was designed for a group of about 150 people. People you actually knew, people whose full lives you had genuine information about. It was not designed for LinkedIn. It was not designed for Instagram. It was not designed for an endless, algorithmically sorted stream of the most highlight-worthy moments from every person you've ever met, delivered directly to your brain at 11 p.m. in bed. But your brain is still trying to run the same calculation, with vastly more data, almost all of it incomplete, most of it curated to look as good as possible. And it's producing a result that feels like fact, but is almost entirely fiction. You're not broken. You're running ancient software on a very modern problem. Let's talk about what social media is actually showing you, because we've all heard that social media is a highlight reel. It's been said so many times it's basically lost meaning. But here's the specific mechanism that makes it so disorienting. Good news gets posted publicly immediately. A promotion, a proposal, a business launch, a house purchase, these go up within hours. They get likes, they get comments, they become visible data points in your running social calculation. Uncertainty doesn't get posted, confusion doesn't get posted, the 3 months of quietly hating your new job, the relationship that looks great from the outside and feels exhausting from the inside, the business that got announced on LinkedIn and is currently running at a loss. None of that makes it onto the feed, it stays private, invisible. So what you're actually looking at when you scroll at 11 p.m. is a world where everyone is succeeding simultaneously. Everyone is moving forward, everyone has a thing, and you, sitting there in the dark, are the only one who seems to be standing still. That's not what's happening. That's just what the filter makes it look like. Here's what's actually happening. The person who just got the promotion is lying awake in a different city wondering if they chose the right career. The engaged couple has a version of the same argument on rotation roughly every 2 weeks. The startup guy, the visionary, has not paid himself a salary in 4 months. None of this is made up. None of it is pessimism. This is just what the inside of other people's lives looks like when you get close enough to actually see it, rather than reading a caption about it. And this isn't about making yourself feel better by assuming everyone else is secretly miserable. Some people are doing genuinely well. Some people are exactly as sorted as they appear. Some people found what they wanted early and are already building it. But most people, the vast, quiet, underrepresented majority of people in their 20s, are improvising. They're making decisions based on incomplete information about themselves. They're saying yes to things because yes felt easier than explaining why not. They're figuring it out in real time, projecting confidence they don't fully feel, and presenting a slightly more curated version of the whole thing to the world. The reason you don't know that is because they're not going to post about it. There's this phrase, falling behind, and it's worth pulling apart because the more you examine it, the less sense it makes. Falling behind what exactly? Behind where you're supposed to be, which raises the question, according to who? Who made the schedule? Where is this document that says by 24 you should have X and by 26 you should have Y, and if you don't, you're running late? Because that document doesn't exist, it never existed. What exists is a vague cultural consensus assembled from a combination of what your parents did, what films suggested, what LinkedIn rewards, and what your most visible peers appear to be doing. That's not a timeline. That's just noise that got organized into a feeling. And the feeling is compounded by something specific to your 20s. This is the first decade of your life without the conveyor belt. For the first time, there is no shared structure, no year group, no next obvious step that everyone around you is also taking. You're suddenly responsible for choosing your own direction, which sounds liberating, and at 23 is mostly just terrifying. The comparison isn't just they're ahead of me, it's they seem to know where they're going, and I don't know where I'm going. And what does that say about me? And the answer is nothing. It says nothing. Because knowing what you want at 23 or 25 or 27 is not a personality trait. It's not evidence of intelligence or character or potential. It's largely luck, timing, exposure. Some people stumble into the thing that fits them early. Most people don't. Most people take longer, and the longer route tends to look from the outside like being lost. It usually isn't. It's usually just a longer route. Here's something worth considering. Almost none of the things that end up mattering most to people are things they predicted at 22. The career that actually fits, the relationship that actually works, the city that feels like home, the thing they turn out to be genuinely good at. For most people, most of those things arrive later than expected, from directions they didn't anticipate, through a series of experiences that didn't look like progress while they were happening. That's not a comforting story. It's actually kind of an unsettling one if you think about it. It means there's no roadmap. It means the plan you have right now is probably going to change multiple times in ways you can't predict. But it also means this, the gap between you and the people who seem sorted is probably not what you think it is. Because sorted at 25 often just means decided, and decided isn't the same as right. Some people who look like they're winning the race in their mid-20s will spend their mid-30s quietly undoing the choices they made too fast. And some people who feel completely behind right now are just in the middle of something they can't see the shape of yet. It's just life happening at different speeds, for different people, toward different things. Because the race you think you're losing, nobody else is running it.